Now, in the U.S., lawmakers are closer to injecting a huge amount of money into the American economy. The U.S. Senate has passed an $838 billion economic recovery plan. Now the Senate's version of the bill must be reconciled with the one passed by the House of Representatives. While both plans carry similar price tags, they are different. The version that has been okayed by the Senate calls for more tax cuts and less spending. The Republicans are signaling they will play hardball to preserve these provisions and are reluctant to make further compromises.
This bill misses the mark. It's full of waste. We have no assurance it will create jobs or revive the economy. We're taking an enormous risk with other people's money.
U.S. President Barack Obama wants to restore funding for schools, construction jobs, and help for cash-starved states. Other Democratic leaders say there's simply too much at stake for the bill to fail.
The bill before us would create or save 3 to 4 million jobs. The fate of millions of mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers, wives and husbands depends on what we do here today.
Obama has warned of a deepening economic crisis if Congress fails to act. He wants a bill completed by the weekend. With me now to talk more about this is Solon Simmons, American politics professor at George Mason University and a frequent guest here at CTV Newsnet. Good to see you.
Great to see you again.
What are some of the concerns with this stimulus package through the eyes of the American people?
Well, the American people have been described as ideological conservatives and operational liberals. What that means is they like to think that they live in a free market economy and that the government doesn't do very much, and yet they want the government to help them out in times of crisis. And so right now we're in one of those times of crisis, and they're willing to put up with a lot as long as it feels like it's basically a free market economy that's moving forward. And we've got really dueling economic theories here. On the one hand, you've got what we might call, and what critics have called, laissez-faire, sit back and do nothing and hope it works out. On the other side, sop them, spend other people's money and hope that works out. The problem is they're based on theories. We really don't know which one of these is going to work, and we know that something has to be done, so the laissez-faire option is probably not going to work. It isn't going to carry the day now. But how are you going to spend this money, and how is it going to be used, and can you really create lingering economic value? That is, can you create something more than just work but create jobs? That is, create things that people want to have and do it in an efficient way. And there's a lot of uncertainty about that, and people realize they have to roll the dice, and that's part of what we decided back in November when we brought Obama in as opposed to John McCain. And those are the stakes. There's a sense that the Republicans are almost the leadership in Congress, and that's strange. They're not. But because the way Obama has opened this process to the Republicans, that's the feeling that we have in Washington, D.C. Obama has to worry that he doesn't lose momentum. If momentum is what will carry the day, he's in a bit of trouble. There's some talk that he's even thinking about re-election already. So that he needs to kick into gear. He needs to get something done. He knows that if this doesn't work, everything else will not matter all that much. And so it's really a crucial moment for us.
So do you think then that he's going about trying to sell this to the American people the right way? And let me add to that question, I have read that some are saying he's given in too much to the Republicans on this. Yeah,
there's a lot of let's say the voices are shrill on all sides here, and everyone agrees that the world is ending. They just don't know what to do about it. But it seems that that giving in as much as he has given the Republicans an opportunity to frame this debate. Now, I think he's practicing what I call don't double down, and we saw this already with Jeremiah Wright, which is he gives his opponents or the people he's dealing with an opportunity to do the right thing. If they don't do it, then he cast them off. And I think that that's what we're going to see with the Republicans here. He gave the Republicans an opportunity. He wined and dined them and watched the Super Bowl with them. And now it's time to get this thing done. So I imagine we're going to see a different Obama moving forward, although he has been very open to them so far.
All right. Can you give us a little bit of a lesson here? Because we've talked a lot about the package being passed in the House and the Senate, and now it must be reconciled. What does that mean? And is the president going to have it on his desk to sign on President's Day next Monday?
Well, I'm not sure I can predict exactly when it'll happen, but what you have to do is that since we had the bicameral legislature, you have to go through both. First, the House has to pass it, then the Senate gets to amend it and debate it. And by the way, the Senate is this famous saucer for the teacup, and things get a little crazy. The House moves more with the times. The Senate tends to keep things what we might call conservative in an operational sense. That is, they're not. They keep it toward the center, and the center is dominating here. It's interesting. We're talking about gangs. to the gang of 20 or whatever, the gang of 3 Republicans who've signed on, that we're using for the symbol of social order as a gang, which doesn't make me very comfortable. But what we're going to see is we're going to see a reconciliation. We'll see the leadership from both sides come together in consultation with the president, and we hope that something beneficial will come out of it. I imagine that we'll see some of the state funding put back in. That's the guess. I mean, a lot of the things that were taken out of this bill were what we might call the reinvestment part of his bill. The recovery or stimulus is the Republican frame. The long-term goal is to use the power of the state to reinvest money into the long-term needs of the American people, like education and local governance. So those are the places that are really hurting now. Also, we want to see manufacturing. In Elkhart, Indiana, he was trying to work on the manufacturing side, a little bit more of the reinvestment. Here, when he was in Florida, Fort Myers, he's talking about the housing problem, which is a current problem. So those are the kind of things we're going to see worked out. And liberals are very unhappy. Conservatives were going to be very unhappy. So we'll see if Obama comes back toward the left.
All right, we're not done with this conversation, but unfortunately we're out of time. We'll have to talk again. Solon Simmons, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it, as always.
Okay, Marcia, thank you.
Have a good night.